The healthiest companies go through 9 shifts as they grow and scale, but the ones that don't reach their full potential get stuck along the way. In our book, An Entrepreneur's Dilemma, we follow our fictional founder, TJ Hughes, on his journey through these 9 shifts.
One of the hardest moments in scaling is realizing that some of your best, earliest hires might not be the people you need to take your company to the next level, and that is painful. Think about it. Early on, you needed flexible teammates who could do it all-purpose players. One day sales, the next day customer service, then cleaning out the office, fridge on Friday, mow the lawn on Saturday. But as you grow, that kind of versatility becomes less valuable than depth and becoming really good at a role. You might notice the same issues resurfacing now. Projects stall out, everybody jumps in, but no one really knows the outcome. They're off to the next thing. They're dissatisfied with their roles. Job descriptions feel more like suggestions than agreements. They start feeling locked in. This is the time when Swiss Army knives aren't enough. You know, the knives with tons of blades? But what you need now are machetes. One sharp blade, sharp, focused roles, built to carve through complexity, built to get the job done. It's not about losing loyalty to your early hires. You're indebted to them. It was invaluable. It's what you needed at the time. But now, in this next phase, it's about giving your business what it needs.
In the beginning, winging it worked. Decisions were fast, systems were loose, and your instincts were usually right. But at scale, muscle memory isn't enough. If every decision has to be routed through you, if your calendar is only a suggestion, if your team keeps asking how to do things they've already done, you're feeling it. Things aren't broken, they're just fragile, held together by goodwill and reactivity. This is the shift from hustle to repeatability. Process actually protects momentum rather than stifling it. And it starts when you stop being the process and you help your team start building it.
In the early days, hiring was intuitive. You actually looked for people that you liked. There was chemistry, and that's important because you're the founder and you have to build chemistry. If they don't have chemistry with you, it's not going to work. These people just get it without needing much direction, and that chemistry moved things forward fast. But as the company grew, you found that new hires looked great on paper, but struggled to deliver. You thought that they just didn't get it. But actually, you haven't clearly defined what it is. If roles in your company lack clarity and onboarding feels like guesswork, you're in the middle of this shift, in the middle of this tug-of-war.
You started as the doer, the fixer, the closer, and that identity got the company off the ground. But now it's in your way. If you're overwhelmed, if every decision still runs through you, and if instead of doing your best work, you're just providing constant oversight, you're in this shift. Your team brings you problems instead of solutions. You're trying to be helpful, but you're starting to feel like a blocker. This shift is about how you see yourself. You're not just scaling a business, you're stepping into a different kind of leadership. Less in the weeds and more in the planning and strategy. That change isn't just about your practical way of working, it's personal.
Culture is easy to feel, but hard to define, right? It feels like a cloud. You can't really put your arm around it, but yet you can see it or feel it. Especially in the early days when it's shaped by proximity, late nights, shared instinct. We look at each other, we feel it, we sort of know what to do because we're together. You didn't have to write it down. You didn't want to write it down because it's culture. It's just the way you live. But then the team grows. There's more people. The vibe shifts. They spend less time with you. There's a subtle slide from us to them. Norms get blurry. New hires don't get the tone, and small things start to slip, and you wonder, is that really us? If alignment feels off, but you can't point to why, you're in this shift. Culture doesn't disappear, it diffuses. And what once felt automatic starts requiring intention. You have to double down on it, even though you think, we shouldn't have to talk about this. You do. If you don't define the behaviors that matter, you'll end up managing the ones you never meant to allow. And remember, I love the definition of culture that says, culture is just the way people behave around here. So the behaviors you have today is what your culture is.
In the early days, you said yes to everything, every project, every request, every new idea. It all felt like an amazing opportunity, and it was. But eventually, yes starts to cost you. It costs your team's bandwidth, your strategy's clarity, and your company's momentum. You're stretched wide, but making shallow progress. If your team is always busy, but rarely effective, and if you're chasing options instead of building conviction, you're in this shift. Focus stops feeling like a limitation and starts revealing itself as leverage. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters better.
In a small team, flat structure feels fast. Everyone pitches in, no one worries too much about titles and territory. We just do what it takes to get the job done, and that's exactly what's needed. But as the business grows, decisions get stuck. Ownership blurs. People might be working on the wrong things. Teams start tripping over each other, or circling back for approvals that were never clear in the first place, or stuff just drops into the white space and nobody does it because we're not sure who's responsible. If you're spending more time aligning on responsibility than doing the actual work, you're in this shift. When the org chart only exists in your head, friction multiplies and it shows. Structure isn't about control. It isn't about documenting everything and having books of ways to do it, but it's about clarity. Who leads? Who decides? Who owns the outcome? When that's clear, momentum follows, and you may have to slow down to define what that means so that you can speed up and everybody knows what to do. Let me give you an image of that shift. When you're small and flexible, it's like the first grade soccer team where everybody's running after the ball and we're somehow getting it done and getting it into the goal because it takes all of us. But when we're scaling, we're a professional team where we still need to get the ball in the goal, but we all have roles on the field and we need to know what to do because we're performing at a different level now.
In founder-led businesses, everything tends to flow back to you. Every decision, every approval, every loose end. That reflex made sense early on. Now, it makes you the bottleneck. If you're constantly pulled into decisions your team should own and progress waits for your green light, you're in this shift. You're not just overworked, you're over-relied on. And deep down, you may not fully trust your team, or they may not fully trust themselves. Ownership isn't about stepping away. It's about giving people the clarity and confidence to step up. When your team knows what they own and believes you'll let them own it, everything starts to move faster with less friction.
In the early days, success meant staying alive. Hit the target, close the deal, make payroll, we're celebrating another week. And you have to be flexible. You have to morph to where you want to go. You become anything a person wants you to be at the beginning because you need the work. But as the business grows, the definition of winning starts to evolve. If just hitting numbers no longer feels fulfilling, growth feels exhausting instead of exciting, you're panting, you're trying to just keep up, you're probably in the shift. You start asking different questions. It's no longer, are we just winning? Are we hitting results? But is this what I want to be building? Is this the focus we should be having? Is this really adding value? Growth now becomes a chance to align the business with what you value most. You're not just chasing numbers, trying to make payroll. Of course, that's still important. But you're building something that reflects who you are. And that's a win and a mission worth pursuing.